Hello Wargamers, it's me Carl from Tabletop Banter, and in today's video we are going to have a look at the initial conversion work I've done on my zombies. Okay, so here are the first 5 zombies that I have converted up using a bit of green stuff. We're going to go through them 5 at a time because this video took a lot longer than it should have to record. I wasn't getting anything to focus with the camera. I was really struggling with lighting because my room is the least lit room in the house. I'm trying to use the daylight and this box I've created using bottle caps, bases, spare plastic card and half a display tray sort of thing that I just cut up. And this is the best it's going to get at the moment. I think you can see details pretty clearly, so I'm fairly pleased. And I'm just going to go through the basic green stuff, the green stuff work I've done on these guys, and we're going to go from there basically. So this is the first 5. Obviously, it's a unit of 10. In this 5 here, you see no special additions. So let's start with the one on the left. Now I tried to keep it quite subtle because hey, they're only zombies, and this is my first ever attempt at green stuffing, so I was a little bit scared. Now the first thing we have here is this guy, so I'll just rotate them. Basically they'll go around in a circle. This fella here, so you can see the bottom of his pitchfork, there is a small amount of green stuffing just coming up, like it's all fire. Everything that's green stuffed will be painted up like fire. It's basically come up from the lava and spiraled round. So this fella here has the same sort of effect, but it's running up the back of him, so it's literally just rising up his body, setting him alight, but he knows no better because he's, well, dead. So he will now sit here. This fella. So I've done 2 capes. Oh, I have done 2 capes, sorry. I did 2 capes. One of them, which the flame is slightly larger on, which is this one here, and this is the second attempt, and that was the first attempt. I'm fairly pleased. Both of them achieved the effect I was looking for. You know, a cape that's on fire, so hopefully once they're all painted up it'll look pretty nice. We'll see. And finally the last fella, which I will obviously just move these 2 out of the way. Whoop. Smooth as you like. The last guy has a flaming scythe. So this was the second thing I actually green stuffed. I got way ahead of myself, really excited, and I was like, oh, wouldn't it be really cool to have his scythe on fire? So I just put a big flap of green stuff on there and started using a wet hobby knife to basically just mould into flame-like shapes. And you can obviously see some of the work I've done on the bases, as I mentioned in the unit review. All cork bases, and they're all going to be lava effect, and I will do a tutorial on that at some point. I've got a spare base and some cork kicking around ready for the trial run, and hopefully we'll get a product that looks just like I've done here, and I'll paint it up and so forth. So now we're going to go on to the second 5. Okay, so these 5 I was probably slightly more adventurous on in terms of green stuffing. I say adventurous, I started to get a feel for it a bit better, and hopefully it's going to come out that way. I've developed a couple of techniques for doing the fiery green stuff, none of them particularly good, but they're kind of holding up at the moment. So the first thing to look at, probably best to start with this guy here. I'm just going to move him so you can see the others a little bit better. It's my zombie banner. Now you can see there's just a tiny little fireball at the top of his thing. That was the first thing I did. I was like trying to mess around with some techniques to get actual fireballs. I wasn't getting very far, but I still had a little bit of a play around, and I did quite enjoy just trying to figure it out for the first time. So to his left, let's start from left to right now. So on the very far left we see one chap here who has a big plank of wood, and he is looking at it like, what? Because his wood is caught. No, I won't say that out loud. His wood has not caught on fire. The plank he is wielding as a weapon has caught on fire, and he looks slightly surprised. Now the guy next to him, this one was the last thing I did, and I'm just going to bring this a little further forward so you can get a good feel for what I actually tried to achieve and how I failed. We're going to bring the focus in. There we go. So you can see I tried to have it so that his head was pretty much on fire. There was like a ring of fire around his head, and it kind of looks like he's got some pretty funky hair, but once it's painted up I'm hoping that it comes out a lot more like fire. I'm not hugely disappointed by him. I just think I could have done better. And now this one over here is a little more subtle. There are some wisps of fire coming from between his fingertips. I tried to thread it in between his fingertips so I could still get some of the flesh in there for when I'm painting. And finally, the noisemaker, the end of his foot, or the end of his leg, sorry, the foot on the end of this leg he is holding as a weapon, is on fire as he looks at it, also surprised, about to bang the drum there. So a fairly simple lot of green stuff work here for the first unit. Like I said, first ever time I've worked with green stuff. And it's been kind of fun. It's added another element to constructing the models instead of just posing. Now, posing with zombies was actually alright. I thought it would be really hard to get them to look different, but I think I've done an okay job. I mean, you'll see the cork on the bases makes a huge difference for helping with that, and I'm really excited as to how it all looks together once it's all been painted and the lava's been built up on the bases, which will be lovely as well. So do stay tuned for that. I'm going to try and get out a video of this every week, maybe more, because at the end of the day, this is the big project I'm taking on for the next 6 months. I'm really enjoying these new techniques I'm learning. Like, this is the first time I've put cork on a base, the first time I've done any green stuffing. I'm going to have some big first times during this army, and I'm really enjoying discovering elements of the hobby that I haven't yet gotten around to. So I hope you're enjoying this journey with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave your comments below. It's not too late to enter, I suppose, if you get a move on for October. See if you can get something done. I know that in actuality I've finished this stage a little bit late. I wanted to be primed and putting the base coats on by the second week, but at least they're zombies. At least I've picked something manageable. You know, get the flesh tone right, get some simple colours on there, and hopefully go from there with the fire and such. So thank you ever so much for watching. It's been me, Karen, from Tabletop Banter. Don't forget, have fun.